everyone, so today I want to show you a 5x7 internal shadow box card. This was suggested to me by Desiree Smith. She sent me a message on Pinterest and a little picture and I thought, yeah, I quite like that. So this is the card we're going to be making. This is the one I made in my live stream. The papers that I've used here are my own digital pack. It's called Patriotic Florals and it's available over on my Etsy shop. So if you head over to there, icedimages.etsy.com, and go and have a look on there and yeah, get yourself a pack. And so when you open it up, you've got this lovely like shadow box card inside. I have done one of these previously, but this is like a portrait version, and then obviously you've got space on the back to write. So this is the one I made in my live stream. I've just used this foliage die, was one that I had. I'm not sure where it came from, to be honest with you. It came with another one that said bloom on it, and then another die that I'm not quite sure. I think it had a stamp that went with it. I'm not really sure. I think it's one I was given. And then the flowers, these are a Dovecraft flower from quite a few years ago. And as I said, the papers are from my Patriotic Florals kit. This die on the front and this one is from In Love Art Shop. So if you head over to In Love Art Shop and use my code icedimages, you'll get yourself 20% off. This is actually a peacock die, but I just thought it looks really nice as a little frilly bit. And then this is the one that I make today. So again, just the same kind of thing. Really nice. But yeah, so that's the card for today. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, you're going to need an outer base card. And then you can either use a different coloured base card or you can use a matte of a similar kind of thickness. Although if you are going to go very thick, well, no, you don't want to go very thick, basically, I would say for the outside, you probably need about a 250, 300 maximum. And then for the inside, probably about a 230, 250, that kind of GSM, I would say. So I've gone for a navy for the outer, and I've gone for a white as my matte and also my inner piece. You just want a contrasting colour for your inner piece. So your outer piece needs to be 7 inches by 10 inches, and you're going to score it halfway at 5 inches, and you're making yourself a 5x7 card blank. If you want to just use a white 5x7 card blank or another colour, you know, if you've got card blanks that are 5x7, you can go ahead and use those. You just need to make sure they're definitely 5x7. Okay, so that's the outer done. So next we want to bring in the inner piece, and the inner piece is 6 3/4 inches by 10 inches. Okay, now on this you're going to score at along the long edge at 3.5 and at 7 inches and at 8.5 inches. Okay, so that's your inner piece. And then what we're going to do is we need to cut some pieces out. So I'm going to turn this round, so I've got my bigger panel here and then my 2 little panels over this side. This second panel, now make sure it is your second panel, because when I made one of my samples I forgot and did it on the first. On your second panel, the small one, what you're going to do is you need to cut out an aperture here. So I'm going to use my scoreboard because I find it a bit easier doing it that way. So what you want to do from this line, which is now obviously 1.5, this is your 8.5 inch line, but obviously because I've turned it round it comes up 1.5 on my scoreboard, but it's just the 8.5, the last one you did, the 8.5 inch line. What you want to do is you're going to come across to where it's 2.5, so basically an inch away from that score line, and you're going to cut, in a minute we're going to cut down here, but we want to make sure we're an inch down and we're an inch up. Okay, I am going to go straight in and try and cut it, and I'm hoping that this is not going to tear. Sometimes it does. So let's have a think about this. So we need to go, as I said, an inch in from there. So what I'm going to do then is, it needs to be 1/2 inch away from this score line. So I'm going to line this up so that second score line is 1/2 inch. I mean, obviously, if you're just drawing it on, it's easier, but I'm just going to go for it. Now, thankfully, on my scoreboard, on this ruler, I've actually got, you know, markings. So I need to mark at 1 inch, so it's about here, and then an inch in at the bottom. So it's going to be about here-ish. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm now going to cut from here down until I get to that other mark, which is about there. Okay, So you end up with that. So hopefully you can see I've got my first score line, my second score line. This line that I've cut is 1 inch away from that first score line and 1/2 inch away from the second score line. I'm now going to cut from there across to here and from there across to this score line. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and do the line on this side. So this score line here, you're going to make another cut, and it's going to be 1/2 inch away there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just line this up again. So you want 1/2 inch away. I'm going to turn it around actually, because it's going to make it easier. Put it through there like that. Line that up with the 1/2 inch, which is there, and then we're going to cut exactly the same where that mark is again, all the way down till we hit the other side like that. So now I'm going to turn it round, and obviously this is 6 3/4, so I want to come 1 inch, so 5 3/4, which is there, and I'm going to cut from this first score line down to the cut, and then from this cut down to this score line here. So in a minute you'll be able to see a bit better what I've done. It's a bit difficult with it having to turn it around different places. So like that. And I'm going to turn around and do the same on the other side. So 5 3/4, which is there. So 1 inch in, and we're going to go again from this main score line down, and then from that cut line down to the main score line. So you end up with this. So you've got a little door here, and then you've got a little door here, and that's your second score line there. So all we need to do now is finish off and cut down that score line and cut down that score line, just in between the two cuts. If you want to use a Stanley knife, you can, that might be easier. Okay, so when you take these pieces out, you end up with 2 apertures. If you want to go ahead and fold your card before you cut out, you can, because obviously this is a lot more flimsy. The reason I don't do it that way is just because I like my card to be nice and flat when I'm cutting it. Otherwise it can be, you know, move around, you end up with a wonky line. So what we're going to do now is this is going to be, these 2 little lines here are going to be valley folds. So I'm going to take the bigger piece and fold it over, and that stops me end up with a wonky, fold. Then this needs to be a mountain fold. I'm just going to ever so gently just kind of fold it over, and as I said, this is the bit where if you do it prior to cutting it, it does make folding it a bit easier. And then this one is going to go back on itself and be a valley fold. So you should end up with that. So that's the inner workings of your card. So now what we're going to do is take our big card. Now this is going to go on here like that. What I would suggest that you do is start by sticking one side down, and then we can go ahead and add the pattern paper that needs to go in the middle. Otherwise you could end up, you know, coming a bit of a cropper. Now my blade clearly needs changing, it's a little bit rough. So I'm going to go ahead and add some either red tape or wet glue. I'm going to use wet glue just because it's just a little bit easier to get it in position, to kind of wiggle it around. So I'm going to add a bit of wet glue on here. And then we're going to take our card and we're going to line this up so that, so that you've got an even border around the 3 edges. Okay, and I would just flatten it out just to make sure it's definitely level, you know, you're not going off wonky, and then just stick that down. Okay, so now before we stick this other side down, I would go ahead and stick in your pattern pieces. So you're going to need, for this inside piece, so you're going to need 2 pieces. Now I've cut them to the full height of the card because I think it looks more finished. So these 2 pieces measure, one of them is 6 3/4 by 3 1/4, and then you need one of those, and then this one here is 1/2 inch by, sorry, not 1/2 inch, it's 1 inch by 6 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick these down here. Now if you want a bit more of a border on this side, you can. I'm going to shuffle them right over into the crease there, so I have a little bit of border, and again here, and then they have a bit more border on the side. I did actually cut it so that these fitted. They actually go together, but I've done it the way around, so it's fine. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick these down. Okay, so you should end up with that. Now, before we stick this bit down, we're going to do these two pieces here. So these two pieces are going to measure, now these are slightly smaller. These are going to be 3 1/4 by 6 1/2, and this one here measures 1 1/4 by 6 1/2. So they're going to go there and there. Now, if you want to, you could leave that blank and you could stamp. You could have that as your panel that you write on. It's really up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and add these here and just leave this bit white. And then what I'm going to do is probably put some foliage on. Okay, so if you want to, you can go ahead and add pattern paper on here as well and make it all patterned up. I'm going to leave that bit white. I think it'll be okay. Once I've put the foliage on, I think it'll be okay. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and add some glue on this side. And if you want to, you might do best to decorate up before you stick this piece down. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this over here. We're going to fold the whole thing down, so it's completely folded down, and then we're going to fold this over and stick it down. I'm not going to stick it flat, like open flat, because if you stick it open flat, it then might not fold up properly to go in your envelope. So it's best to stick it like this, and you should find that your border is perfect doing it this way. So that's how you should find it. So that is that. So now we're going to go ahead and add our decoration in. And the other thing as well is, as you can see, this, I've got a big border here. So I probably should have done with putting that on after I've stuck the whole thing down. I just thought it might be a bit tricky, but anyway, that's what we've got for now. Right, before I do the inside here, let's just deal with the front. So on the front, you just need a matte piece that's 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and a pattern piece that's 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick the matte piece and the pattern piece down. Okay, so I've cut out some little leaves and also some flowers. So I'm going to go ahead now and decorate it up. Okay, so I've gone ahead and add some foliage and some flowers. I've had to go around the corners, which wasn't ideal, but anyway. So just need to add a sentiment onto it now. Okay, so I went ahead and added in some flowers on the inside. I probably should cut those rather than folding them, but anyway, some flowers on the inside and some foliage, and a thank you sentiment. This is from Trimcraft. It was a Dovecraft sentiment from a while ago now. Obviously I've got I still need to put the sentiment on the back, the blank bit on the back, the white piece. And then on the front, I just went ahead and put some more of the same flowers on the front, made like a little oval, little wreath of them, and then put another thank you on the front. So yeah, so that's the card for today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Head out over to my Etsy store, icedimages.etsy.com, where you can pick up the Patriotic Florals digital paper pack. So it's available on there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.